Good afternoon and welcome to a special Angry Bulletin, a subject that I seldom venture into, and this is the field of astronaut health or suspected astronaut health. And those of you who've been watching my channel for a while may actually recognize this room. I'm actually coming to you from my ex-wife's front room. She's been kind enough to put me up for a few days while I wait for a more reasonably priced flight to become available, which is going to happen this weekend. Be flying out of New York then. So very, very grateful to her for allowing me to stay here. And also, it just happened to coincide with my son being in a jazz ensemble at Clemson University and performing last night, which was a very rare and special event. Really happy that I got an opportunity to do that. So in any event, that's where I am, and that's my current circumstance. And also, I'd like to really quickly thank everybody who's been contributing to my effort to get back to the UK. I'm about 70% of the way there on my flight back. Really not that much further to go. I couldn't have done any of this without you folks. So thanks so much for your support. Okay, enough about me. Let's talk about Sunita Williams. As we all know, Sunita was not supposed to be on the ISS for as long as she currently is. We are now pushing close to 6 months on the International Space Station, and that's going to be extended even longer, all the way until February of next year. And some stories emerged a couple of weeks ago suggesting that Suni's health might be deteriorating. Some photographs that were taken of her on the ISS showing her being a bit gaunt. Well, maybe more than a bit gaunt, sort of alarming, really, with her physical appearance. But at the same time, physical appearances can be deceiving. But there were a number of physicians and also an unidentified source at NASA who works directly with the ISS Operations Division. Again, this is an unidentified source, but nevertheless, one who came forward on condition of anonymity, who suggest that Sunita was suffering from extreme weight loss and that NASA was struggling to get her back up to a healthy weight. NASA, however, has vehemently rejected any of these rumors, and Sunita herself has also gone on camera to say that there is nothing wrong with her health whatsoever. And even though I would really like to believe all of that, there are a few details of this story that really make me wonder if NASA is giving us the whole picture. And frankly, NASA has many, many reasons to hide the truth if things are going south with Suni's health. So I'm going to address this entire story, the pros and cons of what may be happening up on the ISS, and give you my opinion as to why we should be seriously looking at bringing Suni back now rather than waiting for scheduling to make it more convenient for NASA.
Hello, I'm Suni Williams. I'm up here on the International Space Station. So this is Node 2. This is a really cool module. Of course, most of these modules you'll see they have 4 sides and they're put together. That way we could sort of work on a flat plane, either a wall, a floor, another wall, or the ceiling. But you know, again, all you have to do is turn yourself and your reference changes.
So for those who subscribe to the notion that all of these rumors about Suni's health is tabloid nonsense and that NASA has completely debunked all of these rumors and that Suni is in perfect health, well, this particular bit of footage would seem to support that notion. Suni Williams seems to be in excellent health. Nothing really about her physical appearance that would suggest that there are any problems whatsoever. Except there is one small detail. This footage was taken 12 years ago during a previous mission to the International Space Station. This is Suni Williams 12 years ago, And this is Suni Williams on October 29th, while she was experiencing some vision problems and going through some tests for those particular issues. Again, nothing unusual about that. These sorts of issues crop up with astronauts all the time, but still her physical appearance is dramatically different than the way she looked a little over a decade ago. Now, granted, a decade can change somebody pretty drastically, but at the same time, Suni Williams is a physical fitness nut. She runs marathons. She is in excellent health. It's rather shocking to see such a dramatic difference between this very healthy-looking, full-faced individual in this footage from 12 years ago and this picture of a much more gaunt-looking individual from a couple of weeks ago. But of course, photographs alone are not sufficient evidence for anybody to really become concerned about any of this, but there is an unidentified source that has only testified on condition of anonymity who came forward with a lot of disturbing details. The source allegedly works at NASA in the ISS Operations Division, and this is what the source had to say. Quote, "She has lost a lot of weight. The pounds have melted off and she's now skin and bones, so it's a priority to help her stabilize the weight loss and hopefully reverse it." According to the source, the 5'8" Williams began the mission at approximately 140 pounds, but as the mission dragged on, Williams was unable to keep up with the high caloric diets that astronauts have to consume. Because of changes in their metabolisms, astronauts have to eat twice as many calories as earthbound humans need each day. Quote, "They have to eat about 3,500 to 4,000 calories per day just to maintain their current weight." Again, according to the source. And when you start falling behind, your weight drops fast. Now, they also have to exercise for more than 2 hours each day to maintain muscle mass and bone density. And according to Suni, this is something that she's been doing, and she claims that she's actually gained some weight on her posterior and also on her thighs. But interestingly enough, while she was talking about all of this, she was uncharacteristically wearing khakis instead of the shorts that she usually wears. Again, this could just be a fashion choice on her part, or she may just be sick of people looking at her legs all the time. But the fact of the matter is, the only medical professionals who are giving positive reports on Suni's condition right now are people who work for NASA. If you go outside that circle of experts, the story begins to change a bit. For example, Dr. Vinay Gupta, a pulmonologist in Seattle, Washington, said this about her condition, at least from how she appears in the photographs. Quote, "Her cheeks appear a bit sunken, and usually that happens when you've had a sort of total body weight loss." And Dr. David Shaker, an internist at Holy Name Physicians in Hackensack, New Jersey, said this, quote, "This to me strikes me as low nutrition, low calorie intake." He also suggested that Williams' nutritional deficit could be the result of physiological symptoms of anxiety or depression due to her circumstances. But again, there is no clear evidence to suggest that her mental health had been suffering. Instead, she seems very enthusiastic about the job she's doing right now. But there is one more very important factor that we have to consider when we're talking about the validity of NASA's narrative on this whole thing. NASA could have sent Suni back to Earth safely weeks ago on Starliner. They chose not to trust Boeing's assessment of the safety of the spacecraft and instead let it go back unmanned. And to be frank, I probably would have made the same decision given the thruster problems that Starliner was experiencing. But if Suni had been on board this ship, she would have arrived safely without any difficulties. So that being the case, if Suni's health is deteriorating right now, then NASA arguably made the wrong decision by not sending her back on Starliner. Or you could take it even further by saying that Suni should never have been sent up on this faulty spacecraft in the first place. So NASA is strongly incented to not reveal any information about Suni's health if indeed things are more grim than they appear. And in addition to that, Suni is strongly incented to do the same because she is going to put the agency that she has devoted her life to in a very tight spot if she reveals any information about her deteriorating health, if indeed that is something that's going on. And this is an environment that I really don't like to be in, an environment where we really can't trust everything that NASA says, given their behavior in the past, given the fact that NASA has compromised crew safety before in exchange for expediency, in exchange for scheduling, as they did with Challenger, as they did with Columbia, and this could be happening all over again. Even in the most ideal of circumstances, astronauts on extended space missions suffer muscle mass and bone loss and oftentimes have a difficult time trying to adjust to a 1G condition once they return. Suni's problems could be exacerbated to a great degree, especially when you consider that she was only supposed to be on the ISS for a little over a week. All of her pre-mission examinations were made under the assumption that she was only going to be gone for a few days and not for over 7 months, and yet that's what she's dealing with right now, against all expectations. No one really anticipated that Starliner was going to go this miserably wrong. Well, except for people who had no faith in the spacecraft at all. Those people definitely anticipated that something like this could happen. And now, at this point, if indeed Suni's health is compromised, and I think there's substantial evidence to suggest that it is, NASA really needs to consider sending her back on a Crew Dragon now, on the Crew Dragon that is currently docked to the ISS, and to send up an unscheduled mission to pick up the rest of the crew. Is this going to be inconvenient? Yes. Is this going to cost millions of dollars? Yes. But are the consequences of Suni coming back and experiencing significant post-flight problems far more serious than the ones that the astronauts who just came back have gone through? By the way, we don't know everything they experienced aside from the fact that they went through an unscheduled hospital stay and a mysterious one. Again, HIPAA restrictions make it impossible for us to know exactly what happened during that hospital stay, but if something more serious happens with Suni upon her return, that could put the future of the human spaceflight program in significant jeopardy. And if one considers that we are about to send astronauts to orbit the moon by the end of 2025, this would be a very poor time for the public and for the government to lose faith in NASA's human spaceflight program. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, please consider supporting this channel on Patreon and PayPal. All the details in the description. And as always, stay angry about space.